What's up, everyone? Let's talk about persuasive essays and what they are. So why do we persuade? When we persuade, we want the audience to do the following. We have a clear purpose. We want the audience to believe our argument, whatever it is we're arguing about. We want them to believe our opinion about something, maybe change their opinion, make them take action to change something, especially if it's a more in-depth, formal type of argumentation. So these are all various purposes as to why we persuade in our writing, in our communication tactics as well. So why is this different from informative writing? Informative versus persuasive? Well, persuasion is difficult because you have to get the audience to think differently about something that they have an opinion about. Maybe we want to change their viewpoint, or at least think about something differently than what they're used to thinking about, forming different perspectives about something. It's very challenging because opinions are deeply rooted into someone's value system. So informative writing, the difference between the two. Informative writing presents factual information only. Your goal is to just inform them about something. So you use factual information to communicate. You want the audience to be aware about your topic. Persuasive writing digs that layer a little bit deeper because persuasive writing should still inform the audience about factual information, of course, but you need more. It needs more to be persuasive. So consider the following sentences. And when you read these, think, which sound more informative and which are more persuasive. So if we look at this first sentence, the meeting changed from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Does that sound persuasive? Does it sound like I'm trying to get you to think differently about something? Most likely not. I'm just informing you, hey, meeting is at 4 instead of 3. So this first sentence is informative. Second sentence, the meeting moved to later this afternoon. Missing the meeting will cause someone to fall very behind with updates, and they will be at risk for termination. This is it's a little bit of both. It's informative, but it's also persuasive because I'm warning you, if you don't go, this will happen. So you need to go. Maybe I have a feeling you may not show up to the meeting, so I need to get a little persuasive. I need to kind of pry into a little bit of emotion there and get you to go to the meeting. So it's informative, but it's also persuasive, the second sentence. Broccoli cheddar is a type of soup. Well, it is. It's factual. It doesn't tell me anything else, so it's informative. Broccoli cheddar is a delicious soup to try because of the warm, melted cheese with a healthy vegetable. Now I'm using descriptive writing. I'm forming an opinion. I don't flat out say, I love broccoli cheddar soup, but you can tell by my stance, by my tone with the words delicious, melted cheese, also telling you that there's healthy vegetables in there. If you hate broccoli cheddar soup, you're probably disgusted by this sentence. I love it, so that's why I used it. But it is persuasive more because I'm telling you it's a type of soup, but I'm also telling you why you should try it. So it's persuasive. Vampires are a type of fictional creature. Okay, that's it. So it's informative, to the point. The history of vampires should be studied because their fascinating tales of suspense will make someone's skin crawl. Whenever you read the word should, it's usually a type of persuasive tone because I'm getting you to think about something maybe differently. If you don't like vampires, for example, when you persuade, you want to assume your audience is thinking the opposite of what you believe in or what you like, so that you can start to think it. You start to place yourself into their mindset a little bit. So should be studied, and this is why it's persuasive. This last sentence. So there's a lot of confusion, understandably. Sometimes I have to remind myself there's a difference between persuasive essays and argument essays. They both have similar goals, but especially in our class, there's a huge difference between the two of them. We're writing both types of essays, but I wanted to make sure you're clear on the difference. So first of all, both of them are trying to argue, trying to get the audience to think differently about a topic. They sound similar, but they're pretty different. Both genres use the rhetorical appeals of persuasion, so ethos, pathos, and logos. But knowing how to use the three strategies is important, and that's what separates the two. In persuasive essays, they persuade mainly through emotion. So meaning you use a lot of pathos in persuasive essays. You use a lot of facts, logos, and you still use ethos, but you mainly focus on personal experience for your ethos here. They're one-sided, so they're actually pretty biased. They're actually very informal. They're not the best way to persuade if you're trying to be formal about something. It doesn't mean they're bad. Knowing the difference between the two, I think, is very important. But they're very one-sided. Think of an advertisement. When you think about an advertisement, they don't focus on the good qualities that their competitors have, right? They really just focus on their brand and why their brand is the best. They're very one-sided because they want you to buy the product and that's it. They may mention the competitors, but they don't highlight the competitors in a good way either. So it's very focused on them. That's what you do in persuasive essays. You focus on your argument and that's it. You're one-sided, you're opinion-based, and your goal is to change the audience's mind about the topic to believe your opinion or to listen to your opinion. Argument essays are very formal. They persuade through evidence, through research, through studies. That's how, in fact, you mainly use ethos in argument essays through finding research, through finding sources. You have to validate through evidence that you can use to prove your argument. So you use facts as well. And there's still a little bit of emotion, but it's not fully emotion-based. Your opinion is still mentioned in argument essays, but you also take the time to respect opposing viewpoints too, and you write a little bit about them. Argument essay topics are usually, I don't want to say, they can be serious, of course, but regardless, they're very complex. So a complex topic, you can't change somebody's mind about because, again, it's deeply rooted in their value system, and you don't want to change their mind, especially if it's a topic that is complex. But you want the audience just to gain respect and perspective of your side of the topic while also respecting theirs. So these are very formal. So both essay genres are going to be explored in this class, but for now we're focusing on persuasive essays, the lighthearted persuasive essays right now. So how do you structure one of these? There's different ways to structure essays, but I always say, especially with persuasive ones, that you want to follow a type of outline, a type of format, so that you have a clear argument and that the audience is able to follow along. So I'm going to break it down by paragraph. So in paragraph 1, of course, you start with an introduction. In the introduction, you want to assume the audience doesn't know about your topic. So you provide that background context, it's called, background information. Brief little history or detail about your topic, just overall what your topic is about. Don't find sources in this essay at all, and just in the introduction on top of it. Summarize your topic so your audience understands what it is you're writing about. And so that's called providing context. Assume your audience has never heard of your topic, so brief little information. If I was writing about vampires, for example, I would tell them what a vampire is. What are they known for? When did they come about? Things like that. And then you want to end with a thesis, because if you don't have a thesis, if your introduction ends like that about the history, background information, it'll sound like a summary paper. It won't sound like an argument. So you need to end with a thesis statement. Thesis statements are one sentence, 2 at most, but usually just 1. And it's what I like about these essays especially is they're very formulaic. So use this formula in red, where you write your opinion on the topic, first reason that supports that opinion, second reason that supports that opinion, third reason. And that sentence tells the audience, oh, okay, they're going to be convincing me to believe something that they're arguing about. So that thesis is really important. It's the key to everything. So let me give you a sample topic, sample thesis, and I'm going to apply that into these paragraphs as a sample that you can use as a guide for when you draft your own essays. I don't know if you've heard of the show. I'm obsessed with it. Quarantine really did me in, and I had fun watching it, at least. That was the plus side of binge watching. But here's the sample thesis statement that uses this formula that we just went over here. The Great British Baking Show is the best show on TV because it teaches delicious recipes, provides an escape from reality, and educates viewers about cultural cuisine. So here's my formula. The Great British Baking Show is the best show on TV. That word best hints that it's an argument because I'm saying it's the best, and here's why. So that's an opinion. You can read my opinion immediately there. It doesn't sound informative. It sounds persuasive. And I need 3 reasons. So it teaches delicious recipes. That's my first. Escape from reality. Second, educates viewers. Third. So I just plug that formula to have a thesis statement. So now the audience knows what they're going to read about and how I'm going to prove my argument. They know the rest of the essay is going to focus on these 3 reasons, and that's it. So use this formula when you draft your essays. So we think about my topic this time with the introduction paragraph. Thinking about my sample thesis, I need to provide background context, right? So I want to assume, well, maybe the audience has no idea what this show is. So I would briefly summarize in a sentence or 2 what it is and when it started, where viewers can watch it. What is the show? It's a reality show, so it's a competition show. So what are the goals of the show? You know, what players compete each week, or competitors could go against each other each week. They have to do 3 different recipes each episode, and then somebody goes home each week. Somebody's the star baker each week. You know, I just kind of explain who the hosts are, why it's popular, maybe anything else that the audience can just kind of understand what this is first. Because if they don't know what it is, I can't persuade them. So they need to understand what it is first. And then I would close on this sentence. Because if I didn't have this sentence, it would sound like I'm just giving you a history paper about the show. So you need that thesis statement at the end. So the rest of the essay actually becomes very formulaic, which is good because the technical part of this essay, I think, helps you keep a focus a little bit. So after my introduction, I need to present my argument to persuade the audience to change their mind about why this is the best show. Because when I'm writing this paper, I'm assuming they think other shows are better. They think other shows are superior. There's a high chance that that's the case because there's so many TV shows out there. So again, thinking about my thesis, the Great British Baking Show is the best TV show on TV. That's my argument. Because, I need a reason, it teaches delicious recipes, escape from reality, and educates viewers. In this paragraph, this would be paragraph 2, because it would be after the introduction. In this paragraph, I want you to only focus on reason 1. The Great British Baking Show teaches delicious recipes. That's it. I'm only going to focus on reason 1, that it teaches delicious recipes. So I wouldn't even mention that it's an escape from reality in this paragraph. I wouldn't even mention the education of different culture. I would only focus on reason 1 because it teaches delicious recipes. Why am I doing that? Because it keeps my paper and argument organized. I have time to talk about each reason and break them down in each paragraph. I dedicate a paragraph to each reason. So I would start this paragraph with a topic sentence. A topic sentence is the first sentence of a paragraph. It feeds directly to your thesis statement. So it tells the audience, first of all, what the paragraph will be about. They read that first sentence and they understand what they're going to read in that paragraph. But it also directly connects to your thesis statement. That's why topic sentences and thesis statements work together. That's why they're so important. So, if I'm only focusing on reason 1 in my thesis, because it teaches delicious recipes, I need a topic sentence that uses that word recipe or something similar so that I get that link connection to the thesis. So here's a sample topic sentence for this paragraph that I would start this paragraph 2 out with. Learning delicious dessert recipes builds a hobby of baking. When you read that sentence, you're going to expect the rest of the paragraph to discuss why this is so fun. Why is learning why is it fun to learn recipes? How does it build the hobby, and how does the show connect to that? I'd expand more in the paragraph about how the show brought me personally a new learning experience about what delicious recipes, for example, I learned, how I learned, why it became a fun hobby, things like that. And it links the show, my thesis, and the topic all together in this reason 1 paragraph. So that's what I would focus about in reason 1. in this paragraph. Same thing. So I'm done with paragraph 2. So paragraph 3, I need to think about my second reason that's in my thesis, that the Great British Baking Show is the best show because it provides an escape from reality. So in this paragraph, same thing. I'm not going to focus on the recipes. I already covered that in the previous paragraph. And I'm not quite at reason 3 yet, so I don't even want to talk about cultural cuisine yet. All I'm going to talk about in this next paragraph is that the show provides an escape from reality. So I'm only going to focus on reason 2. Again, why? Because it keeps everything organized, it connects that thesis, and carries the argument forward. So I need a new topic sentence. I need the audience to know what this paragraph is going to discuss so that I can connect this part of the thesis to the rest of the essay. So maybe a sample topic sentence for this paragraph. During challenges of everyday reality, it's calming to rest on the couch and indulge in a friendly baking competition show. So that's me telling you the rest of this paragraph is going to talk about what makes it friendly, what makes the competition less stressful, because sometimes reality competitive shows are very stressful. So why is it friendly? What went on in my day that was so stressful that the show took away that stress for me? Why was it calming for me to watch? All that stuff I would talk about in this paragraph to persuade that, hey, if you're having a stressful day, check this show out. It'll help you relax. And this is because this is my experience of it and how it helped me. And this is why. So that's what I would write about in this paragraph. Third paragraph, we already talked about delicious recipes. We already talked about an escape from reality. So we need to connect that last part of the thesis. So our third reason in the thesis was that the Great British Baking Show educates viewers about cultural cuisine. So you were anticipating it probably. Reason 3 we would talk about in this paragraph. So I need a new topic sentence. I need to carry on. I need to use a transition and carry on to the next part of the argument. So sample topic sentence, maybe something like, our perspectives are broadened when we learn about other cultures. And topic sentences, you want them kind of broad. You want to use words that are similar to the thesis so you can see that direct connection. I'm using culture and culture, but you're going to get into the specifics. I didn't mention the show here. I can if I want, but I didn't mention the show. But I'm going to eventually in this paragraph connect that the show brings that opportunity to learn about other cultures, to learn about recipes that you may not know, that I didn't know about. What recipes again I learned that were different. Why this feeling of excitement maybe I had when I learned about newer perspectives and broadening my horizons, and how different I felt in a better way. So anything like that, and that's how I would bring it all together for this paragraph as well. So here's a quick reminder. When writing the body paragraphs that we were just talking about, the reason 1, 2, and 3 paragraphs, remember to use the rhetorical appeals to persuade, because remember that you're writing a persuasive essay, not an informative essay, so you need to be constantly persuading the audience. These are not formal essays. The persuasive essay is not formal. You don't need sources in the persuasive essay. You're going to need sources in another essay, in a future essay, the argument research essay. But right now, you're just writing a persuasive essay. So you don't need sources because you are persuading through different ways, through different strategies. So this is how you're still using the rhetorical appeals of persuasion. You're just using them a little differently. So instead, use the rhetorical appeals this way as you write these 3 reason paragraphs, because the reason 1, 2, and 3 paragraphs is where you're persuading. That's the main area of the essay that you're persuading. So it's the most important part. When you write with pathos, it's emotion. So think about what words you can use for descriptive writing. It's called painting the picture, for the audience to connect on an emotional level. You want them to feel what you're feeling in that moment. So whatever moment you're writing about, whatever topic you're writing about, whatever reason you're writing about, use tone words to dictate remember that word stance from the rhetorical situation. You want to place the audience in the rhetorical situation that you're writing about. So use tone words so they feel what you feel. Because when you connect on an emotional level, it builds the foundation for a persuasive path. Ethos. Since we don't need sources, Usually that's the main way to use ethos when we persuade, especially in a formal way, in a more professional way. We don't need sources for this essay, so how do we use ethos? You still want to be taken serious. You want to persuade with credibility. Therefore, write about personal experiences related to your reasonings. Did you witness someone go through something similar to what you're arguing? Maybe, maybe not, but regardless, write about personal experience, because that's the best way to use ethos in persuasive writing, in persuasive essays. Again, paint the picture, meaning when you write about a personal experience, the audience wasn't there with you, so you want them to picture the room, the sounds, what you saw, what you heard, what you tasted, smelled, felt, touched, anything like that. Paint the picture so that they can relate, because when you paint the picture, maybe they can relate to something similar. And once you get the audience to relate, you're really building that foundation for persuasive tactics. And then logos, any facts. The sky is blue. Popcorn is popped in a microwave or on a stove. Dates, history, moments in time, any kind of common knowledge like that. Flamingos are pink. Cats meow, things like that. Those are all common knowledge. They do not need to be cited, so don't feel that you need to cite anything like that. And it's still a great way to use logos if you're using factual information, and it's a good way to build trust in a way. Logos and ethos kind of feed into each other sometimes, so it's a great way to build trust. So that's how you want to constantly be thinking about these three rhetorical strategies. Use all three, by the way, too. It's more effective, it's stronger, it's better for that type of writing as well. So if you're thinking about my topic, thinking about strategies I can use for pathos, ethos, and logos in my own topic about the Great British Baking Show being the best TV. Well, let's think about my 3 reasons again. Reason 1 was that it teaches delicious recipes. So I'd use descriptive words for food. There's something about food is persuasive, especially when you describe how it tastes and looks and smells. So I would use that. My personal experience about finding a new baking hobby. Maybe I'd write about one moment that I finally accomplished a recipe on the show, and it made me appreciate the show, and the show brought so much more than just watching it on the TV screen. It became part of my life. Recipes I followed from watching the show, that feeling of success, that it just made it the best show. It made me just love the show even more. And so teaching those delicious recipes made it even a better experience watching the show than some other show that I watched. Reason 2, escape from reality. What I would do here is I'd write about a really stressful day I had, because I want the audience to relate, because we've all been stressed before. So I'd use tone words to prove that I was stressed, so that when the audience reads it, they think, ooh, I've been there. I can relate. And how much better I felt just getting comfy on the couch and not being stressed in a normal cutthroat reality show that a lot of these shows are like. So I discuss why this show's different. The competitors are very friendly. They help each other out. The music's comforting. The environment's welcoming and beautiful scenery. Just description of the friendly nature. So then that maybe the audience thinks, wow, I'm really stressed right now. Maybe I should watch this. I'm intrigued. I need this escape. Anything like that. Educates viewers about cultural cuisine in that reason 3 paragraph. Describe what different cultures are represented on the show. What new recipes I've learned that are different from my own culture, so that I'd explain, the show brought me an education, and I learned more about something I didn't know, and how exciting that was. So, learning about someplace far away, and maybe I know how some recipes are made, but they make it different there. So it's cool. Maybe I don't agree to how they make it, but it's cool to learn that there's differences, and I gain respect for different cultures, and it's important. And Simple's TV show brought that to me. So that would be my ways of kind of breaking down these strategies and using the 3 rhetorical appeals consistently in each reason paragraph. And that's, by the way, also why now that you have this sample, I think you could see that persuasive essays are very one-sided. They're not formal arguments, because somebody could argue that there's not enough cultural representation in the show, and I agree. So that could be a way that I'd say, it's not the best show in the world. This is why. But I'm not even thinking about that in this essay because these are persuasive essays. You're supposed to be just talking about, you're just supposed to focus on your opinions and your opinions only. So that's what you're going to see the difference between these persuasive essays versus your formal argument essays in the future. So when we close, in the conclusion, reinstate your thesis. What that means is just mention your thesis again, because that tells the audience, okay, my argument is coming to a close. Briefly summarize your 3 reasons. Again, when you summarize, you just focus on the main idea. You know, what were your 3 reasons about? Summarize on the main idea. If it helps, read your essay, and then go to the conclusion and write from memory about what your 3 reasons discussed. Why does this topic matter? You know, this is an old topic. My apologies, actually. Let me fix that. I change my topics each semester, so we can do this. Why does your topic matter? Ending on that kind of so what? Why does this matter? Is it keeps your topic relevant. It keeps it alive. It keeps the audience intrigued to discuss it more, think about it in different ways, and continue to care as well. Why does this topic matter? Answering that question particularly keeps your topic relevant. So here's some hints as you write the essay. Write about something you know well, because this is a persuasive essay. It's one-sided, and how you're using ethos is personal experience. So some kind of personal connection, a topic you know well. I always say persuasive essays tend to write about something that you've gone through, or something that you like, a show, for example, a character that you admire, music you like, you know, anything like that. Write about something you've experienced, can relate to. That way you don't have to look up a lot of information. Write about something you have an emotional connection with, because again, these essays are more emotionally based as well. And then write in first person point of view, because if you're writing about personal experience, for example, you're going to talk in first person, I, me, we, our, words like that. Or if you feel that sounds weird, you want it formal more, you can write in third person. That's just a more formal tone. It prepares you, because third person will become more and more relevant with each essay that we do in the class. But what you want to avoid is second person. Those are the words you and your. You lose the formality. You also lose the focus of the topic, because it takes the audience away with what you're writing about. So first person, third person, but avoid second. And that's your essay. So if y'all have any questions, let me know. I can't wait to get started on it.